Good morning, everyone. It's Chris again from daxtrader.co.uk. I figured what I'd try and do now is actually produce the video in the morning and provide the outlook first thing. So let's take a little look at what's already happened today. Market opened obviously a couple of hours ago now, and we opened to what seems like a gap here, and a bit of a surge in the last sort of 5 minutes of last night. And it continued to the upside again this morning, pretty much immediately breaking above the deviation high and creating, if you like, a sort of a developing VPOC way up here in the high 93s. Currently trading around about 93.80, in the high 93.80s. So I still have my trade on, and I'm still confident that I'm going to hold on to this. Entered in at 92.50. My stop loss is still at 91.50. So while I think about it, I may as well just move that to somewhere like that. 92.75. So that trade has now been de-risked, and we'll just sit and wait. I'm still fairly confident that we're going to reach up towards the sort of 95 levels. I doubt that we'll get there today. I mean, the key levels for today, we've pretty much taken out the majority of them. I mean, where did we start? We started at about 93.50. So we've taken out the value area high, and we've taken out the 200-day EMA, which was at around about 93.61. I guess the final one is the daily R2, which is at 94.38, and I think we'd find it difficult to trade above that if we get there today. That will probably be about the ceiling. So what's really caused the jump this morning? Because, I mean, there's obviously a big bear argument at the moment. How long can we continue this rally? It's an interesting question, and there's lots of different ways that you can answer it, but I guess the obvious reason for this morning's rally is the fact that we've got earnings data that came out. European stocks lifted by earnings. Henkel is the big one really for the DAX. Good data came out from them, and that has boosted them quite significantly. You might argue that they're not a huge influence on the DAX, but they're certainly not bad. They're up in the top sort of 10, 15 companies or so. Big boost on today's early trading. And there is another one that's coming out, I believe, today as well. If you look on the Reuters website, there's factors to watch for today. On German stocks, Henkel, they're indicated a bit higher. They're obviously quite a lot now. And the German Lufthansa, the German part of it, indicated higher as well. If you scroll down, I guess a lot of these are perhaps on the smaller indices. I don't recognise any obvious names there, correct me if I'm wrong. Just at a quick glance, that are actually going to affect the DAX. But there's some really good earnings data that's due out for today, and that's one of the key things that happen at this time of the year that maintains that bull argument, is that, yes, there's a lot of global, geopolitical, even economic fundamental risk that could affect the DAX, but the one thing we can't ignore is that companies are releasing their financial data, and we're dealing in equities and indexes at the moment and not currency. So there's a lot of information to suggest that the bull run can continue. If we cast your mind back to August, I think it was around about July, August time, there was an article released on CNBC to say basically by the DAX it's going to rally as much as 50%. So any investors who buy at the lows, which around about then was about 9,000 or so, could see within a year as high as 50% return. So, I mean, that was a ridiculous statement, perhaps, because who knows how far we're going to get? Are we going to see 13,000? Probably not. Who knows? But there was strong bullish sentiment from the early days from the big sort of institutions back in August, and there's a lot of opportunity there to continue. And I think the main reasons why they said this is that the line they use is no canary in the coal mine long term. Germany is highly geared to the global economy, where things are starting to look a lot more positive at the moment, despite the geopolitical risks. I mean, I think the reason why the geopolitical risk in Russia is affecting Germany so much is that so many of the companies in the DAX are heavily reliant upon energy from Russia. So if there are sanctions being held against them, or if relationships are damaged in any way, then that might affect the supply. So I guess at the moment things are looking good. Anybody who is long, congratulations. Intraday, I don't know what to expect for the rest of the day because I don't know how much we can really go, but I'm happy to sit on this. And I said yesterday, if I'm going to be trading the DAX intraday today, I'm going to keep things fairly simple. I'm just going to trade, perhaps using some aggression, and just channel trade. I think we're going to have a little bit of sideways movement, but obviously hoping that we continue to go up. So on the daily chart, as you see, we've broken through the 200 EMA. We are trading above the 61.8 fib from the recent swing closes. The monthly R1's way up here. We're not going to get there for a while. I'm really looking to see if we can breach above these highs from Thursday and Friday. You might not be able to see this because it's a little bit further down on the screen, but there was a huge volume day on Friday, which relates to a negative day, almost like a bearish engulfing candle here that took out Thursday, but was rejected. And so I wonder whether that high volume was similar to the 16th, where we had one of the highest volume peaks of, since 2010. I wonder whether that high volume peak does correlate with some of those bulls rejecting any bearish movement, but I'm speculating. So that's on the daily chart. As you can see, we've got to have a pretty good start. Let's hope we continue with that. If we scroll back a little bit, take a look at the 4-hour chart. Let's just delete this channel here because it's nonsense now. Okay, 4-hour chart, we're bullish. I mean, I would argue with anybody who says that is a bearish looking chart. So that's the 4-hour, and again, I mean, if you wanted to really pull a really crude and basic channel here, just trade this. I mean, that's quite a big channel, to be fair. You might want to discard that. But again, looking pretty bullish. If we look down to the hourly chart, perhaps just change these pivot lines here to make them daily as opposed to monthly. Let's just make these daily pivots, see what we're dealing with here. Okay, we're pretty much at the R1. It's quite interesting that we were rejected from the R1 when we opened this morning, and we've now started to pull back from this. I think that it's, you could pull something fairly crude and say that if we're going to pull back for building, we could pull back towards the daily pivot, or perhaps towards this sort of 93.25 line, which just happens to be the 61.8 for the recent swing. So we could pull back to there and perhaps build from there. So that would be a good entry, I would suggest. I better just cover myself and say, I'm not giving financial advice. Trading financial markets is risky. I'm not telling you what to do. If you unfortunately experience any losses off the back of any material on the website, I can't take any responsibility for that. It's really for educational purposes. But if I was trading, I would be going long from probably around about that level. It's a fairly high probability trade. So that's pretty much it for the DAX. Keep an eye on buying the dips, and be careful shorting, I think, today, because the overall trend is certainly going to be bullish. 90, although the R2 daily is going to be pretty much, I think, the top for today. I would love it to go higher, but let's just see what happens. Good luck with trading. I wish lots and lots of happy points, and we'll produce a release a bit later on.